We're back. I have Carrie Diratona here.
Yep.
And just wanted to ask you, because we just saw your last match and your other previous stream match. Lady Luck has not been on your side at all today. Wanted to know, what are your thoughts on that?
I want to cry. Nah, it's fine. I feel like overall I could have definitely played better today, but the RNG not being on my side definitely did not help. So here I am casting now.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
Yes, I appreciate it.
And it looks like the brackets are up right now, and we're gonna be having Andrew Navarro versus Logan Martinez on stream right now.
Ooh.
And we'll be also streaming the next one of Joven Texiera and Patrick Connors immediately after. So stay tuned for both matches.
Those should be very good, I think.
Yeah, I'm
very interesting matchups overall.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this because both worked with Joven and Logan. So those are two teams that have now been built and gonna be showed on stream.
Yeah,
so
the inside perspective.
Yep. A lot of info for that.
Mm.
And then I know you have a lot of info in Patrick's team as well.
Yes. Yeah, he sends me the paste all the time. I'll be like, oh, why is this? And then he'll be like, well, it's because X, Y, and Z. But, yeah, no, but overall, these should be really good. Both are completely different restricteds overall. So that should be, in terms of the matchup, we're going to have Terapagos versus CIR,
yeah.
And then CIR and Zamazenta, correct?
Yeah, two CIRs, wow. That's crazy to think about.
That will be interesting. Maybe CIR finals, which would be, I mean, two different variants though. Hard Trick Room and Pseudo Balance, somewhat. So
we'll see.
It should be good watches.
I just know that both CIRs are actually on Terra Fairy, and this is the only Zama actually that is not on Behemoth Bash. So this will also be pretty interesting. But it's made it this far.
It's been an interesting topic of debate whether the Behemoth Bash or the Heavy Slam. And so, Chris, as you know, you're a pretty avid Zamazenta player. How do you feel about the meta shift from Heavy Slam to Behemoth Bash overall? Because a lot of top players are actually using it. I believe in the R Tour, Cognetta used it to top cut it, get top 16, I believe.
I know I mentioned it before, but I think Behemoth Bash is really a fraudulent move. I think Heavy Slam just is more consistent in damage rolls, especially into the mons that we don't fare too well.
Mm-hmm.
But Behemoth Bash is just for the Terra Fairies, and the argument can be said I have partner Pokemon to also deal with it. We see Entei coming back, also deals with the Mungus, where Behemoth Bash doesn't, but Heavy Slam deals with the Mungus. So I think there's trade-offs here and there, but I'll always stick with Heavy Slam.
That makes sense.
We can see as they're sitting up, we can see the teams right now. Logan on the Terapagos and Grimmsnarl.
The interesting one is this is Specs Terapagos. We don't really see those much anymore. It's mostly all the Calm Mind variants.
Yeah, that is very true. I think a lot of EU and NA right now are on the Calm Mind, especially a lot of the top players, but I still think Specs Terapagos has a very special place in the meta. It's very consistent damage, really good coverage, and doesn't really need to get any Calm Minds off to just start hitting things out the get-go. But it's really interesting with that team, just seeing both really hard supports like Tornadus and Grimmsnarl being paired with that team.
And now we have Andrew's team, and it's the classic hard Trick Room. I believe this team, Top Cut San Antonio, got 7th place by William Brown, I believe. It's a very interesting team, very offensive, a variety of different kind of leads that you can do with it. You could lead Smeargle Urshifu and just immediately pressure damage, or you could lead Calyrex Smeargle and go for the damage as well. And then the Indeedee with the Calyrex is also just really good because you can Trick Room with either Mon and then try and do something else with it, or just do a crazy play, Helping Hand Glacial Lance, blow up both slots. I mean, you're bulky enough, you can do it. So it's going to be very interesting. Two very different versions of hard offense from both sides, with the very fast Specs Terapagos and the very slow hard Trick Room of the CIR. What do you think Logan might bring to this matchup in order to...
I think that he's going to be probably bringing the Terapagos Grimmsnarl. I don't know if he'll be leading with it or it'll be in the back, but definitely Reflect off Grimmsnarl really helps Terapagos bulk down and survive a lot of the hits. Tornadus and Raging Ball unfortunately cannot come, especially with Indeedee being able to deny some of that priority that Raging Ball might want to dish out. and Tornadus is just too fast.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be interesting playing around the Indeedee and then also the Terra on the Terapagos, because if we terastalize, like, with the Terapagos, it'll remove the psychic terrain, right? So it can allow Grimmsnarl to function in the Trick Room with the Thunder Waves. But there is a really cheeky play Logan could possibly do in this set with a side Thunder Wave onto the Calyrex to make it slower. I mean, not the Calyrex, sorry, the Terapagos, in order to make it slower than the opposing Calyrex on the other side. So if it's not min speed, if it's min speed, things will get very interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. And looks like the game is about to start. Maybe we'll see that play come into this game off of lead. It's going to be Andrew leading Indeedee and Calyrex, which is really interesting from what he actually did last time.
And the Ogerpon Urshifu. This is a very good lead, I think, from Logan. This immediately puts pressure on the CIR in terms of Terra, but we have the Follow Me from the Indeedee to start redirecting it.
Yeah.
But I think what's good about it here with Logan's lead is he technically has 2 resists here. He could Terra Fire the Ogerpon to get the immediate resist, but I'm not sure that he's going to do that here with Terapagos waiting in the wings. And then the Urshifu being...
like really offensive.
Yeah, really offensive as well.
Yeah, I think this is showing like Mammoth Andrew really wants to get that Trick Room up, and we're going to see Logan actually protect the Ogerpon here. Maybe predicting a Glacial Lance to kind of like not take as much chip damage here. I think I saw Urshifu lock into Taunt. Yep, it's going to deny that Indeedee, which is going to be really good going forward if Andrew sets up Trick Room to help stall out those turns of Trick Room.
100%.
And we're going to see it go up.
But this is still awkward, though, mainly because this Urshifu, due to not having like a Focus Sash or a Terra that's not weak to Ice Rider, Indeedee can just click a Psychic into it for free and do a ton. Like, I believe that one-shots, right? It should.
It depends, actually, on what that spread is and how much bulk is on the Urshifu.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So,
that's true.
But we're going to find out here. It looks like Logan's committing to that Terra Fire because now that the Indeedee can no longer click Follow Me, it leaves the Ice Rider completely vulnerable. But I think he is also trying to predict here. No, he's going to go back.
He has to be really careful here, though, because if he burns Terra early and the Blood Moon Ursaluna comes in, it's going to be threatening an insane amount of damage, especially into the Heartflame with Earth Power. And then the Calyrex and Blood Moon in Trick Room will just put on so much offensive pressure that it'll be hard to recover. We see actually the prediction from Andrew with the high horsepower, the double
he's actually doubling into the Ogerpon here, and it's not going to pick out the knockout this time. So he's going to get the free Surging Strike into Calyrex here.
Imagine if that was a Glacial Lance plus the Psychic. That might have actually been able to pick up.
It might have. With that Stab Glacial.
100%.
And we're going to see that Surging Strike come up. And the Ivy Cudgel into the Ice Horse here, taking out the knockout.
I think this is an okay position for Logan. This is still, I think, really scary, mainly because the Ursaluna we know is probably waiting in the back, but we actually see the Urshifu come out first.
Yeah, this is actually really well positioned for Logan here, as he can sack the Ogerpon with the Follow Me, which I think he's going for, and this is a Terra Grass Dark Urshifu choice span, so it has no option to protect.
But I think the interesting part here is
here comes out the Follow Me, and we see the Psychic.
Yeah, because the
Indeedee
should
slower
move first.
than.
But I think this Urshifu should be. I think the Urshifu on Logan's side should be able to live the attack from the opposing Bandit Urshifu. I could be wrong.
It's actually gonna be a U-turn. I think he's pivoting out into the Blood Moon, but if Logan gets this right and gets a critical hit, unfortunately,
that totally mattered.
Yeah, if Logan gets this right into the Blood Moon in the back, there's gonna be a lot of damage, especially that Blood Moon is carrying that life orb. The chip is gonna. It's actually gonna be Smeargle.
But the question, it should not pick up on these hard Trick Room Smeargles. They usually have enough bulk to live surging strikes from an Urshifu, as we could see here.
That is true, but with no longer Cali Ice being on the field, Urshifu is free to Terra Grass, as well as carrying the safety goggles, so he can resist the Psychic. The Smeargle actually can't even click Fake Out anymore.
Right.
So we'll have to see if Logan goes for if Logan goes for a prediction that the Indeedee will switch out because it's still under that taunt.
Right. It's also a really passive board state right now for Andrew. He's not really threatening much damage with the Indeedee being on the board. Like, maybe he could do something like a little cheeky with the side decorate, right, into the Indeedee to try and pick up the KO on the Urshifu, which is entirely possible. But I do see a world where something a little interesting could go down with the side decorate once again into the Indeedee, because I think that probably picks up the Urshifu like no matter, especially being on terrain. But maybe with the screens from Logan's side,
Yeah,
that
I
Urshifu.
don't think that cycle will be picking out, and we're also under 3 turns left of Trick Room here, so
I mean, the Dark Urshifu can still be very, very scary in the Trick Room. But like, if the Smeargle's removed, maybe some more brevity. Logan has to play around this Dark Urshifu definitely. If the Urshifu gets taken out this turn on his side.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that's why he's not coming to the Terra. We're gonna see the light screen here. I think Logan's betting that the Psychic, that is boosted under the Psychic train, is
See the
gonna
Decorate?
survive. Yep, the Decorate into Ndidi. I think it's gonna be going for that Psychic into Urshifu,
I think this will pick
which
up.
should pick out. Yep, we're gonna see it right now. It's gonna be a knockout.
This is actually really a really scary position now for Logan because of the fact that he didn't Terra. I feel like because now what Andrew's threatening is the Spore into the Terapagos, and terrain is still up, but
But we
could
might see
some
that cheeky
para,
play that you
yeah,
just suggested earlier. We might see that T-Wave into the Terapagos.
into the side. Yeah,
And there's still 2 turns left to Trick Room and no Mon on the field right now, and including in the back for Andrew can protect.
right.
So Andrew can just steal the game away
But
by just rolling with
the
that.
NDD has lost its taunt.
Yes.
So that's where it's going to get scary though, because it can follow me away.
But it will not be following a Terra Starstorm
No, I know.
that does the spread.
No, that's true. But then the Smeargle gets to go for the Spore though, and it could shut down the Terapagos for
Oh,
a
you're
turn.
right. It can
So this is gonna
shut
be
down the
dicey.
Thunder Wave.
And let's say the Terapagos theoretically stays asleep long enough, right? And the Urshifu comes in, then Logan's going to be in a really, really dicey position overall. But we'll see. As
Nope,
we can
there
see the
goes the
follow me
follow
play,
me.
no Terra actually, interestingly, from Logan's side, probably trying to preserve it for the Urshifu in the back. Actually, I think we're going to see a foul play come out here from the Grimmsnarl, I think I saw.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
believe the foul play is going to come out. Actually,
Whoa,
chunking the
that's a
Ndidi.
good amount of damage
I think
there.
there's a smart play on Logan here, trying to burn out Trick Room so Terapagos will be faster than Andrew's Mons, as well as burning a sleep timer right now.
and
this is
getting rid of
giving-
that Ndidi.
Yep, this is giving a lot of options here. We just gotta see. Psychic Train just ran out. We don't know if Andrew will reposition here to probably get another fake out off of Smeargle, bring in the Darker Shifu for the last 2 turns of Trick Room because Follow Me is still available.
Right. I could see a really aggressive play here from Andrew, which could be to hard switch in the Urshifu on the Ndidi slot into side Decorate in order to counter the Reflect. But I'm not sure if he'll do that.
I think the Urshifu, considering this is a hard Trick Room team, the Urshifu might underspeed the Terapagos, so even if it gets a Decorate up, it might not be able to get the attacks off.
No, but
into.
the bulk, though, it's probably extremely bulky with the Choice Band and then also being in the Trick Room. Most likely, possibly min speed. It could have a bit of speed investment to outpace some things outside of Trick Room.
Yep.
It's completely dependent on Andrew's spreads, but as we can see here, the Terapagos is
He's gonna Terra
terastallizing.
here. So if there is a switch out here, he is at least chunking it.
No,
Follow
we
me?
just see the follow me from the Smeargle.
All right.
But we got to remember this Ndidi still has its Decorate
Reflect
boosts.
comes up. You're absolutely right, but it cannot touch the Grimmsnarl right now. So we'll just have to see. Terapagos is gonna
Fast
sleep.
asleep.
That's 2 turns of sleep now for Terapagos, and Trick Room is unfortunately gonna go right back up. If he is
did
able
Trick
to
Room
take
end?
out,
Did it
it
end?
just ended.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
just ended. Okay. This is gonna be, but good thing for Logan here that this Smeargle does not have
Oh no,
wide
I
guard.
think Andrew actually canceled Trick Room. I think there was 1 turn left.
Yeah,
of
that's
Trick
what I
Room.
was thinking as
Yeah.
well.
You'd have to do it again here.
Which
That was really interesting, but we'll see here now. If the Tropicals wake up and actually get the double knockout into both the Smeargle and the DD.
I think this comes down to this Terapagos waking up here, because what Andrew can go for here is the follow me into the Trick Room, and if the Terapagos doesn't wake up, then Bandit Urshifu hits the board, and things are going to get dicey. Actually, we see the Spore from Andrew's side into the Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, that was a very aggressive play coming out from Andrew. I was not expecting the Spore coming out. I thought maybe there would be a follow me, but we're going to see Psychic from Ndidi.
No, so he did set up the
actually
Trick Room.
do a
Trick Room was
good
over.
amount of chip damage to his Mons, but Andrew did not set up Trick Room here.
No, Trick Room is up.
Was
So
it up?
Trick Room was. Oh yeah, okay. I got lost in the turns. But it's still a very dicey position here for Andrew though, because I'm not sure how much damage the Choice Band Close Combat will do through the Reflect, as we see Andrew go for another Decorate onto this Ndidi, which now is at +4. This thing's a powerhouse now. But we got to remember the light screen
Oh,
is still up.
Grimstar is going to wake up here and actually
Foul
foul play,
play.
knocking out the Ndidi.
Oh,
And
that's-
Tropicals will also
Oh,
wake
wake
up this
up.
turn.
And but this is still a really interesting board state, I think, for Logan though, because this I think the Urshifu might be able to pick up on the Terapagos with close combat.
I think with the choice span,
the
close
chip.
combat, even with the reflect, it might be able to here, but only we'll have to see. I believe in this Terapagos side will be surviving it, but
All right, we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a little
We'll have to
interesting here
see.
because I think Logan's going to have to go for the side Thunderwave here unless he's 100% confident that this Urshifu will not kill the Terapagos after the reflect. So we're going to see the side Thunderwave here now. This is where things get dicey, right? Because we have the 30% chance to para, as well
Absolutely.
as the fact of the Thunderwave could just miss. So, and I don't think even with close combat drops,
Thunderwave is going to come out
Oh,
and
and
it's
it
going to
hits.
land into the Terapagos here. Now underspeeding the Urshifu.
But does
Oh,
it
comes down
move?
too, and it
And it
comes out
moves.
single targets Terra Starstorm right into the Urshifu. It's going to do a significant amount of chip damage
this
now.
probably kills.
I'm not even sure, and it
Yeah.
goes for the knockout, one hit knockout.
We got to remember if the I've run counts before on Urshifu with when I was considering Mystic Water for my team a while back, and I'm like, oh, let me see if I can live a Spec Starstorm just from like the normal baby turtle. You have to invest so much just for it to like live to the point where it's like not even worth it anymore. So
Yeah, considering it is choice band min speed, I thought maybe it did have enough bulk to live the specs Terapagos because some
that's
some
fair.
Urshifus are out for that.
but especially with the Terra on top of it, though,
Oh, true. The increased base special attack does go up,
right?
and it being a single target.
Close game overall, I'm very curious to see how Logan might adapt, maybe with an earlier Terra on that Urshifu possibly. I'm also curious on how Andrew might adapt because I'm really surprised to not see the Blood Moon Ursaluna because it's immune to that Thunder Wave before Terra, and then it's also just threatening insane amount of damage next to that Smeargle with the Decorate. It's just on the special side because overall, I would say Logan's team is pretty like vulnerable to special attackers, like especially in the Trick Room, the Blood Moon Ursaluna in particular, especially with the 4 that he's shown to bring. Really only the Terapagos and like the Ogerpon being able to like soak up the special hits like really well. The Grimmsnarl with like Light Screen can help
And the
boost up
dark
the team.
typing being able
the
to
dark type.
resist both the Urshifu and just be completely immune to the DD. But as
That
we
doesn't
saw,
help against Blood Moon. I was talking about Blood Moon. That thing's
yes.
monstrous.
but I do agree. I was very surprised that Mammoth was bringing both of his support pieces and actually increasing its power. It did a lot of damage. You
Right.
know, like a fourth of like Tropical's HP gone from a +2 no psychic terrain psychic. That chip damage adds up. No, I'm pretty sure Logan was very worried whether it would the close combat from the choice span Urshifu would knock out at that end game.
I'm really surprised to see the U-turn from Andrew on that one on the one turn where he had Dark Urshifu out. I get the idea of the pivot, probably in the Smeargle to avoid the close combat. Sorry, excuse me. But I'm just surprised not to see him like rip a like CC or like Terra Grass either. But I guess he was afraid of the Terapagos in the back.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if he rips Terra and like having no wide guard on Smeargle. But I'm just curious how both players are going to prove the game because I think overall, it was like somewhat close. I think on both sides.
I agree. And we're going to see the game start up right now with an Indie Ogerpon lead off of Andrew's side. And the same lead is on Logan being the Urshifu and Fire Ogerpon.
I feel like this is a better lead for Andrew overall. I mean, not Andrew, sorry, Logan overall, mainly because the Ogerpon, like due to the Urshifu being Terra Grass, right? You can't just like Woodhammer and like the follow me pressure as well from the opposing Ogerpon.
Andrew's Ogerpon is actually Horn Leech. It's not even Woodhammer.
Ooh, and it might not kill this Urshifu based on the bulk, but
Exactly.
I'm not sure with the mass boost and everything. So you never know with Ogerpon. That thing's a monster.
Yeah. But I think Andrew really wants to get that Trick Room up as he's leading both double redirections
100%
this time. So it might be the Indeed going for a Trick Room, but he could also go into offensive play.
Could go for a Helping Hand Ivy Cudgel. I'm not sure if that picks up on the opposing Ogerpon, but that is definitely a play he could do into the opposing team. It's weird. It's like an offensive lead, but also somewhat of a passive lead on Andrew's side, I feel, because you're threatening stuff, but like not really, and it's very dependent on how Logan plays out the turn, and I feel like it's definitely more favored for Logan. And we see the Taunt and the Ivy Cudgel actually into the opposing Ogerpon, which I don't think Andrew minds too much, really, because of the because the opposing Indeedee still has the Follow Me, and this Ogerpon, I'm assuming, is slower than both the Urshifu and the Ogerpon on the opposing side. Maybe not the Urshifu due to the amount of HP that it has, but it's threatening a lot of damage under the Trick Room, especially next to this Indeedee with Helping Hand, because like Andrew could just let it rip and just do massive amounts of damage, but we could just see a double protect from Logan's side, and as we see the Helping Hand come out from the Ogerpon, calling that the opposing side is slower as we see the Surging Strike.
Oh, the Urshifu is actually slower than the Ogerpon. We'll have to see if this actually picks up the knockout. It
doesn't look
unfortunately
like
does
it.
not. It's really close though. Oh, it's very close. I
Yes.
think he might have low rolled the Surging Strike here. But
Not
unfortunately with the
sure.
Helping Hand, that's actually going to
Ooh.
take out... It doesn't take out the Urshifu.
I told you. Why we run Woodhammer. Nah, I'm kidding. But no.
But that's a lot of HP that the Ogerpon takes back. And this Ivycudgel is not going to take out the knockout either.
I definitely think that swings the game, I think, back into like Andrew's favor more so than like the lead we were talking about, like with it being kind of awkward with the
yeah, with
the
two
typings on Andrew's end and having to make calls. But now he could just go for the Follow Me and the Ivycudgel and the Urshifu and that, or the Ivycudgel into the opposing Ogerpon for chip and get it in range of that CIR, which I'm assuming is lurking in the back and would love a big +2.
Yeah, it seems that Logan is trying to just really push the board state and knock out these Pokemon, despite there being 3 turns of Trick Room here.
100%.
He probably wants to take out the Trick Room Sweeper as fast as possible and try to stall the Trick Room then to see what's in the back line. But we're going to see the Psychic go into the Ogerpon due to redirection here. And the Surging Strike is going to hit Indeedee. It is not Rocky Helmet, so the Urshifu is going to just chunk it for a lot.
A lot here, but it's not removing that Ogerpon though, which I believe should be going for this Ivycudgel now into the opposing Ogerpon, which is going to do a lot of damage, and once again put it in range of that CIR in the back.
With 9 HP left, and there's also only 2 turns left to Trick Room,
This
so
is
he
also
could go for
dicey.
double protect here and try to keep the Urshifu alive with these 2 Mons, making him really have making Andrew have a really hard time bringing back Trick Room in the
I think
endgame.
it's dependent on his back, because if the Smeargle is in the back, I think it could get really, really dicey for Logan, because theoretically Andrew could pick up a double KO on the next turn with the Ivycudgel into the opposing Ogerpon and Psychic into the Urshifu. But we could see a defensive play from Logan, possibly of the Grimmsnarl switching in for the Urshifu to tank the sideways possibly. Logan definitely, I think, has the tools here to win, but it's going to be completely dependent on how these next couple turns play out.
Yep, the Ivycudgel's Logan went for a double protect here. Ogerpon's actually no longer have taunt, and only a turn left of Trick Room. We know that the Urshifu underspeed, so it's going to be either taking a knockout for the Indeedee here, but Ogerpon's going to be, unfortunately, also just leaving the field here.
I'm surprised to see no switch from Logan's side actually as like a defensive switch, mainly because double Trick Room's not being threatened here. I guess he's afraid of the Ivycudgel from the Ogerpon, but I feel like a really proactive play that we could have seen is a hard switch into the Grimmsnarl, allowing you to preserve the Urshifu for the end game, and by maintaining the Psychic terrain possibly on the board, it stops the Smeargle from having to fake out, so we could threaten Taunt in the future board states. But as we see here, Logan going for the double attack. And we actually see the withdraw of Ogerpon from Andrew's side, and we see the Calyrex Ice coming in. I don't recall, did he Ivycudgel the Ogerpon slot? Because this could be really, really dicey as we see the Psychic come out.
Going into the Urshifu. Yep, taking out the knockout here. I thought the Psychic was going to actually go into the Ogerpon here, trying to take that redirection mon out.
No, but
When you see this Ivycudgel actually go right into the Indeedee, just completely like removing it, and Logan still has a super effective attack going to the Ice Rider. Trick Room and Psychic Train's going to be ending, so that Smeargle could be in the back.
I'm thinking it is, based on the way that Andrew's been playing this.
Yep. Having Fake Out online.
The Ice Rider, I don't think the Ogerpon's going to be too scary in Trick Room, though. Actually, he could just bring in the Ogerpon here and then have the Smeargle in the Trick Room, right? And he should be able to take the hit, but I'm actually curious, though, is the Ogerpon faster on Logan's side, or is it the Terapagos? Mainly because of the way that Urshifu was trained before, makes me interested on how bulky this Ogerpon is. Because as we know, recently, Shiliang Tang ran Impish Max Defense Ogerpon at San Antonio Regionals. And since we have Thunder Wave on Logan's side of the team, it could allow for like interesting speed tiers.
Yep. We're going to see the Terastallization actually on Terapagos here on Logan, trying to go for a double knockout. I do believe that Andrew's Ogerpon is actually Justin Tang Shiliang Ten's max
Ooh, that
HP
would be-
defense.
But
So
I'm curious here because I think we're going to see the double protect to see if this Terapagos locks into the Dark Pulse because this Ice Rider is probably not going to want to take a Stellar boosted Dark Pulse from a Specs Terapagos. It also allows him to, scout out the board state, see what Logan might be locking into here.
yep, you're correct. If he got the call right that Logan locked into the to a Dark Pulse, Ice Rider, since Andrew has not burned Terra, is Terra Fairy, so it would just resist the rest of the game. I think Logan locked into Terra Starstorm here to kind of try a pin for a Terra Fairy here, because if Andrew does not Terra, he's going to take another really heavy Ivy Cudgel, or this Ivy Cudgel is going to take out the Ogerpon and he take a really nasty single target Terra Starstorm.
100%.
So only a few more turns and we'll get to see what's in the back. So both Indeedee and Ogerpon gone, and now Ice Rider I believe is going to set up Trick Room. We might actually see that Blood Moon or Saluna in the back, or maybe it's Urshifu again.
I think it might be that Smeargle because the thing with that Smeargle, that Ice Rider actually took that really well for it being a single target for it being single target Starstorm. So it might be able to tank 2 more.
And it is going to be the Ursaluna coming out now.
That's really scary. That's immune to that Thunder Wave from that Grimmsnarl, and it should be able to live. I think not 2 Star Storms, but at least 1 Starstorm, and enough for it to be able to reposition. This is really scary, and it will come down to speed tiers between the Ursaluna and the Ice Rider, because I think it's better if the Ice Rider moves first and then the Ursaluna, so then Blood Moon can get off into the Terapagos, rather than a Hyper Voice. And this is really, really tough position for Logan, mainly
We're
because
going
no
to see a Follow
screens.
Me come out from the Ogerpon here, and we'll see if the Blood Moon is actually faster under Trick Room. And
Oh, it is.
It is. So the Hyper Voice comes out, and we're going to see a single target Glacial Lance go into the Tropicos. Now that this Terra Starstorm is no longer single target, Logan's really going to have to bank on a critical hit here to try to take out this Ice Rider here.
And the Ursaluna, because I think this Ursaluna should be able to live.
Tropicos is going to live with 27 HP.
See the
Terra
Terra
Starstorm
Starstorm.
comes out. Is he going to take out the knockout?
I don't think so. I think this Ice
gonna be
Rider should
close.
live. And what about the Blood Moon?
And it doesn't with just a sliver of
barely.
HP. However, the Grimmsnarl was still in the back. We
I
do know
I
it
think
is.
Andrew's going to clean up the game here, though, because I don't think it's going to be able to underspeed this.
The Trick Room is
Ursaluna.
up, and Grimmsnarl still has that cheeky play that you suggested with the Thunder Wave to underspeed both Mons.
But the question is at min speed, though. If they're both min speed, the Terapagos should not be able to underspeed the opposing Ursaluna and Calyrex. But I know they're usually not min speed because
is
of the
true.
Smeargles. Because the Smeargles have to go min speed just to allow this Calyrex to get the boosts. So it's going to be interesting here. Is the Ice Rider min speed? Is the Bear min speed? It's going to be close.
Yep.
And once again, it also comes
We
down
see
to if that
Logan-
Thunder Wave misses or if it full pairs the Terapagos. But we actually don't see the Thunder Wave from the Grimmsnarl, and we see the Blood Moon go into the Grimmsnarl and one-shot it. I'm really surprised to see that play from Andrew, mainly because Thunder Wave into Ice Rider could be a bit dicey, and if you don't, if you did go for that theoretical play, could be awkward. But we see Andrew clean up the game here, and it's 1-1, so we're going to game 3. This should be...
And Andrew's been bringing different Mons every single game, so I am very curious what he'll be bringing game 3. This time it was the Ice Rider Blood Moon with Indeedee and Ogerpon. Last game was the Smeargle Indeedee with the Urshifu and Ice Rider. He really wants that Trick Room, so I think he's going to be bringing both his Indeedee and Calyrex again to always get that Trick Room up. But I'm curious to see what sweeper he will bring in the back, if he even does bring it.
I feel like Logan on that last turn needed to take the gamble with the Thunder Wave, though. Like on the Terapagos in order to win the game. Because if he did underspeed with the Thunder Wave, that was just game. Like there was nothing Andrew could do. So I'm really surprised to see the play that he went for with the, I think, the foul play.
He went for foul play into Blood Moon, predicting that maybe if Grimmsnarl loses the Hyper Voice, he can live like a Glacial Lance. I'm not sure how fast the Ice Rider is.
Right.
So Grimmsnarl could have actually undersped the Ice Rider if Mammoth is not a min speed Ice Rider.
I don't think
it's
he is
just-
with that Smeargle, because Smeargle usually has to run min speed in order to get the Decorates off on the Calyrex Ice as well as the Blood Moon. A team I always like to reference is Alex Underhill's, I believe, 9th place or no 12th place placing team from NAIC with the Electabuzz and the Annihilate and the Decorate Smeargle, which is a very similar team because. So I think this Smeargle is the min speed one. I think the Blood Moon and the Ice Rider are probably not min speed to allow for the Decorate boost from this Smeargle. into the two of them. I'm very curious on Andrew's end to see if a possible like Urshifu adjustment, like in the Trick Room with the Smeargle. It's going to be really dependent on Andrew's leads, because I think Logan has shown that he is willing to just lead the Urshifu and the Ogerpon. So I'm curious to see how Andrew could adapt, because he has ways of just threatening immediate damage with the Ice Rider, but Logan is also threatening a KO on turn 1, no matter what Andrew does. What was the Terra on the Ice Rider again? I think
It's Fairy.
It's Fairy, right? I think Terrafire Cudgel plus Surging Strike should be able to pick up on a Terrafire Ice Rider.
I'm not so sure, because we saw that Surging Strike earlier in Game 1. It barely missed out
On 50% though, but like with the attack boost and then the Terra boost and then the mass boost on top of that, I think should easily do over 50% to the Ice Rider.
Logan's Urshifu is actually Terra Grass, not Terra Water.
Sorry, not the. It's a Terrafire. I thought.
Oh, okay.
It's a Terrafire Cudgel plus the Surging Strikes, because we saw the Surging Strikes did about 50% to the Ice Rider, which they imply that it's not. It might be more bulky on the special end, most likely. But as we get into Game 3 here, we see the Indeedee and the Ice Rider into the Urshifu and the Ogerpon Heartflame lead. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see just the taunt play again and the Ivy Cudgel from Logan's side. But this makes sense, though, because I don't think he wants to remove that Indeedee turn 1 to allow for the free switching into the Blood Moon or the Dark Urshifu or the Smeargle in the back. That's always the tricky thing with these hard Trick Room teams. You usually never want to take a KO on that first turn, because then it allows for that free switch in, and then they get 2 sweepers on the board ready to start picking up KOs.
Yep, and I agree. The only thing scary about this Indeedee is that it does have that psychic boost, and it might pick out the knockout, threatens a knockout onto that Urshifu. But it's actually going to go for the follow me, and Andrew's not going to go on the offense. He really wants that Trick Room up going up here. Ivy Cut is going to go into Indeedee as well as a taunt, making sure Indeedee always goes for an attacking move. It could be interesting. Logan reads that and possibly has a Grimmsnarl on the back to kind of just take no damage from that, as well as get his screens rolling.
100%.
But
it's gonna be awkward here, because I think it's really dicey. We're gonna see the Terrafire actually, but we remember last time Andrew went for that really hard call of the what's it called? The high horsepower and the psychic into the Ogerpon. And so I'm really curious if we're going to see Andrew make that call again. But by doing this play, you also make yourself open up to the Blood Moon in the back, and Earth Power is now like a guaranteed KO, unless Logan gets up the screens. But this is still a really awkward position for Logan. I think I saw him double attack here. I think he really needed to make a protect call.
I agree. I think double protect would have been safe here.
Oh, but we're actually seeing the Terra Fairy on the Ice Rider. This probably implies that he's going for an attack on the Urshifu this turn, most likely. I think this is going to be Glacial Lance plus Psychic into the Urshifu, trying to bait out that Terra. This is still a really awkward position for Logan, especially since you're getting rid of that spread Terra Starstorm in the back, but you are maintaining Terra Shell. So if Mammoth decides to remove this Urshifu here, it's really awkward.
I think it's gonna come down here. Mammoth's actually gonna go for the Glacial Lance here. We know that the CIR is slower than the Indeedee. Psychic's gonna go to the Ogerpon, not knocking out the Urshifu here. So Logan's gonna hit his Terrafire, Ivy Cudgel into Ice Rider.
Strikes.
So we're gonna get 1, 2. That seemed to be like a low roll. 3. That's a good roll. That's a good roll.
Good one. I think it might live on a sliver. I believe Logan doubled up the
This
CIR
Ice Rider
here.
seems to be really bulky, so I'm also curious if
close.
this hits out the knockout.
Oh, and it
does
picks
take
up.
out the knockout.
But this is still really, really scary.
There's still 3 turns left to Trick Room.
Blood Moon,
Yes, protect
that Blood
available.
Moon is in the back, I'm telling you. And it's really scary because Andrew, by bringing out the Blood Moon, has a really, really safe play of Hyper Voice plus the Psychic into the Urshifu. So maybe we'll see a proactive switch in of the Grimmsnarl to try and get in screens. No, we just see the Ivy Cudgel for the damage. I'm surprised no double protect here. Either to like stall out the Trick Room.
I'm also surprised, but he might be trying to reposition his Urshifu under the Trick Room to make sure that the Indeedee always targets it, so he doesn't get double up with the Tropicals from the back.
Does pick
But
up
we'll
on
see
does
here.
pick up on that Ogerpon. Now Logan is down his Terra and his redirection. And
I think that's still a very interesting play with 2 turns left of Trick Room now, and 2 turns left of Psychic Terrain. Psychic going into the Urshifu, so you were right about that call. But I believe with Logan
always
having
safe 'cause
the
he can pick up
Terapagos
the
in the
K.
back, yep, he's actually going to bring up the Grimmsnarl
this
here.
makes sense though from him because he needs to get the screens up for the Terapagos in the back, because that's going to be really annoying for Andrew with the Terra Shell. But as we saw, that Blood Moon was able to pick up on that Grimmsnarl without the light screen. So I'm very curious that most likely, I think with the light screen, it should be able to take a Blood Moon. But I'm very curious if Andrew might go for the Hyper Voice and the Psychic, but we see Logan might just hard switching this Terapagos on these like super dangerous attacks from this Ursaluna, mainly because it could take it with the Terra Shell. But we actually see the possible side Thunder Wave.
I'm not so sure what.
I really think we need to be setting up
he's gonna be
screens
locking
here.
light screen here, and then going to be going for the close combat to Blood Moon. But I do not believe this Urshifu under light screens will be surviving a Psychic as well as a Hyper Voice. But
I don't think so either, especially Psychic Terrain boosted. I really think we're going to see a Blood Moon come out from this Blood Moon Ursaluna into the Grimmsnarl and a Psychic from the Elite. Or
Blood Moon into Ursaluna. Interesting. I think he was predicting the Terapagos from switching in, doing a huge chunk of damage. The Urshifu is actually going to go down, and Psychic is not going to affect the Grimmsnarl at all. With only 1 turn left of Trick Room here, and Blood Moon being burnt out, Terapagos is coming in for free.
I feel like this is a really good turn for Logan actually now, just purely on the fact that there was no damage into the
And
the
light screen
Grimmsnarl.
is set up too.
And they burned the Blood Moon. There's no Blood
Yep.
Moon, so
Blood Moon being slower than DD, Blood Moon has to be the one breaking the shell, and DD might not be able to do enough damage with the light screens going through, even with that boosted
Question is,
screens.
what does Andrew have in the back? Because I think things could get really dicey if there's that smear goal. Mainly because we're locked into that single target Starstorm now instead of the spread. Mainly because we Logan terrored the Ogerpon earlier. So I'm really curious how Andrew's going to play out this endgame. Mainly because I believe the Indeedee has shaken off the taunt already. So, ooh,
It's gonna be a very close endgame here.
This is actually really interesting here because the foul play, because the Grimmsnarl.
It's gonna be a
we see
helping hand.
This is gonna be.
Mammoth is just going for the full offense here. If Hyper Voice Helping Hand takes out this Grimmsnarl, then the foul play will not be
maybe a
knocking down
crit.
DD
Maybe a
here.
crit.
The Grimmsnarl is going to live, and the Terapagos takes comfortable damage, so he's going to take that Terra Starstorm.
Foul play. This should pick
to
up on the
leave,
Indeedee.
taking it out. Did 50% last
But,
time,
I think
and
this
single target
Starstorm-
Starstorm going into Blood Moon now might pick out the knockout here.
And if it's just Smeargle, I don't think Andrew can win actually.
It
And
takes
does
it out.
If it's that
It comes down to the last mon in the back.
if it's that Ogerpon, I think things get really dicey. But if it's that Urshifu Dark or the Smeargle, I think that's just game. Because single target Starstorm should be able to pick up. It's the Ogerpon. Oh, things get really interesting now.
He has already burned Terra though, and this Grimmsnarl still has access to Reflect and Thunder Wave.
I think Logan wins this actually, mainly because the single target Starstorm should do over 50% of this Ogerpon, and Foul Play should also do about 50% of this Ogerpon. But if we are right about our theory about this being the Shuliang tank spread, this is going to have lower attack as well.
Exactly.
So this probably won't pick up on the Terapagos unless a crit happens, possibly.
Thunder Wave is actually going to connect,
But
and now
even
the
then-
Terapagos is always going to be the first one going forward. Let's see how much damage this Terra Starstorm is going to be
This
doing
should be
to
a
Ogerpon
this should
here.
be a 2-shot.
I believe you're right. It's going to do
Oh!
it's gonna do more than just a 60% here. The Ivy Cut is going to go into the Terapagos here
not
and lose
nowhere
it
near enough.
comfortably.
And I think that's game. It looks like
I
Logan
think
is
Logan
going
has
to the
gonna seal
finals.
the deal here. Yep, and
Yeah,
that's
battle's
it.
canceled.
That was a very close game. Had me at the edge of my seat. Wasn't
Right.
sure what was living and what's not. Very interesting spreads from both teams.
I think, you know what would have been an interesting play to see from Andrew in those last couple turns that could have maybe swung the game into
Congratulations to
favorite.
Logan
Yeah,
Martinez
congrats.
heading over to the
Finals.
finals.
I think what was interesting there is I'm curious if Andrew possibly, if he hard switched out into the Ogerpon to tank the Starstorm and then get Blood Moon back in with the Blood Moon, maybe something there could have possibly happened. But congrats to Logan once again to making finals, making the right calls, the right reads in order to make it there. And so we are actually going to be streaming the other top 4 sets. So this should be a good one. This could be Patrick Connors versus Joven Texera.
Yep.
So
It's going to be an exciting game. CIR versus Shempodina.